61 megabytes of emails, computer code, and other data secretly downloaded from the servers at a leading center of global warming research and then posted on the World Wide Web. In a debate as polarized as that over global warming, it's not surprising that what one side sees as a tempest in a teapot, the other calls one of the biggest scientific scandals in history. Here again, Eric Shawn.
Exhibit A, an email to Michael Mann, creator of the famed hockey stick graph, from Phil Jones, head of the University of East Anglia Climatic Research Unit, one of the most important academic centers for global warming scholarship. Jones is a powerful figure on the UN-sponsored Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, known as the IPCC. The subject, Stephen McIntyre and Ross McKittrick. Jones calls them MM, the two Canadian gadflies whose research had questioned the work of Mann and other climatologists.
Phil Jones told Michael Mann, quote, "I can't see either of these papers being in the next IPCC report." He promised to, quote, "keep them out somehow, even if we have to redefine what the peer review literature is." What do you make of that?
He's referring to a paper that I'd published. You'll notice there's no discussion of the content. He just says, I'm going to use my authority as an IPCC lead author to exclude that information.
That exchange from 2004 was just one of an astonishing series of emails in which global warming proponents, big-name scientists in the field, talk of controlling the peer review publishing process, a cornerstone of scientific inquiry. Another example from 2003. The journal Climate Research published a paper questioning assertions that the 20th century was abnormally warm. A month later, Mann wrote, "It is pretty clear that the skeptics here have staged a bit of a coup. I think we have to stop considering climate research as a legitimate peer-reviewed journal." Here's an example from 2005 of climate scientist Tom Wigley writing to Michael Mann about going after an editor who doesn't agree with them. If you think that he is in the greenhouse skeptics camp, then, if we find documentary evidence of this, we could go through official AGU channels to get him ousted.
I mean, it was clearly a concerted attempt to take down the reputations of the people they disagreed with.
Other emails appear to show a determination to keep information away from those who might challenge the Climatic Research Unit's work.
In an email between Dr. Jones and Dr. Mann, Jones writes about data that McKittrick and you had been seeking for years from them, saying, quote, "If they ever hear there is a Freedom of Information Act now in the UK, I think I'll delete the file rather than send it to anyone." He goes on to say, "We also have a Data Protection Act, which I will hide behind."
The station data that he didn't want to send to us, he did send to other people that he viewed as being sympathetic.
Then there is the suggestion that climate scientists were improperly massaging their data. It's found within leaked computer codes that they used in their temperature research. One program contained information referred to as a fudge factor.
Can you explain what the fudge factor is?
The fudge factor is actually a line written into a computer program at the Climate Research Unit where they run into a problem with their data. They want to fit some tree ring proxy data to their temperature data, but the tree ring proxy data goes in one direction, it goes down, and the temperature data is going up.
In other words, at times the tree ring data and the temperature didn't match. The thermometer said warmer, and the tree ring said cooler.
It almost sounds like it's faking it.
It's faking the match. The problem is, if they haven't explained that they use this fudge factor to force it to match, then it's not being honest with the reader.
Another programmer's note reads, "These will be artificially adjusted to look closer to the real temperatures."
Do all scientists do this?
I sure hope not. I mean, where would we be in medical science, for instance, if they took all the people that died from the experimental treatment and just recoded it so it looks like they got better?
Then there's this email, perhaps the most damaging email of all. It was written by Phil Jones to Michael Mann and his co-authors in 1999, the year after their hockey stick graph was published in the prestigious science journal Nature. "I've just completed Mike's Nature trick of adding in the real temps to each series for the last 20 years. He continues to say, to hide the decline.
That stuff about hiding the decline, we know what he did with the data, and it did have the effect of taking a graph that was sloping down, make it look like it slopes up. The scientists involved condemned under their own mouths, basically.
Professor Jones denied our request for an interview, but said in a statement the word trick was used here colloquially, as in a clever thing to do. Gerald North, noted Texas A&M University professor of atmospheric sciences and oceanography, doesn't think this all amounts to a scandal.
Oh, use this trick, use that trick to get to the solution. That's just email talk.
What we read in the emails to you is normal back and forth intellectual discussion?
People are people, and just because they look like computer nerds, they have egos too, and very low-key people really want their work recognized and they want to be first.
The word trick isn't the key there, it's hide the decline. They can't just dismiss this as, yeah, a normal give and take and there's nothing there.
But it's what you might expect, Patrick Michael says, from climate experts who publicly declare the science is settled, while privately being confronted with a real world that doesn't always follow their computer models. He cites more leaked emails from another climate scientist.
Kevin Trenberth from the National Center for Atmospheric Research comments on the lack of warming in the last 10 or 12 years or so. And he has two separate emails. In one of them, he says it's a travesty because our data system is inadequate to do this right. And in the other one, he says, it's a travesty because our computer models can't simulate this. In science, you have two things. You have models and you have data. And he is just saying there are problems with both of them. Would you please answer me where the statement, quote, the science is settled, the mantra of the global warming extremists, has come from?
Trenberth wrote Fox News that his email only suggests we can't fully explain why 2008 was as cool as it was, but with an implication that warming will come back as it has. Michael Mann and Tom Wigley did not get back to us, but Mann recently wrote that the leaked emails were, quote, mined for words and phrases that can be distorted to misrepresent what the scientists were saying. The University of East Anglia added that the fudge factor computer codes were never used for published articles or data, and defended the Climatic Research Unit's work, as its director, Phil Jones, has temporarily stepped aside for a university investigation, and the world has learned that the unit had discarded much of its original raw temperature data.
One thing about global warming that is not in doubt: the debate has become extremely polarized. One side fears environmental ruin, the other economic ruin. A former Greenpeace member looks for middle ground after the break.